Okay, so here we are live once again, and I've got another Mcfarlane DC Multiverse figure to open up for you, and this is from the 2025 Superman movie, which I still haven't seen. But I got this guy when he was on sale. He was $24 when I picked him up, which honestly is the price this figure probably should have been to begin with. I want to say that these figures were like $10 more than that originally at retail. And like the one that I bought at retail for retail price, I should say, was Hawk Girl, because I knew that was going to be one that was hard to find, and I was right. I made the right decision there because she did turn out to be a hard to find figure. But all the ones from the actual movie, I'm like, I'll wait till they're on sale to buy those, if I buy them at all. And indeed, the only two that I bought from the actual movie was I bought Mr. Terrific and I bought Lex Luthor. And I did buy a few Lex Luthor figures. Technically, I'm still wallets closed on this because I didn't buy them until they went on clearance, so they didn't really make any money off of me anyway. These were getting rid of them prices, and I was happy to help them get rid of them. Over here, we got a picture of David Cornsweat in some baggy pajamas. Probably the least impressive live-action Superman suit I've ever seen. Yeah, I still haven't even watched this movie, and I doubt I'm going to at this point. Sorry to anybody who's a fan of this movie. It just I watched that first 5-minute clip, and it was just too goofy. I couldn't even get through it. Nah, I'll stick to the original Christopher Reeve Superman movies and the Henry Cavill Superman movies. Those were good, and even Superman Returns. I'm not really like a huge fan of Superman Returns, but I liked it better than this one. By the way, Mcfarlane apparently is finally putting out a Brandon Routh Superman figure, and I am really excited about that. I think it looks great. And I'm not even a fan of that Superman suit either. That was my least favorite Superman suit, well, at least until this one. But they made some improvements on it. So whenever I get that figure and I open it up, I'll talk more about that. Blue White Mario is here and says hi. Hi right back at you. Good to see you. I saw that a little bit ago, but sorry, I was in the middle of a rant. So we got a piece of artwork on the back, and I'm not sure who the artist is. It almost looks more like somebody took a photograph from the movie and kind of traced over it in Photoshop. Mr. Terrific with the T-spheres over him. I'd mentioned on this channel before, I think, and elsewhere I know I mentioned it, is there was something about this costume that bothered me. And one day till your birthday, Blue White Mario says it's one day till their birthday. Well, happy birthday in advance in case I don't see you tomorrow. So yeah. But yeah, there was something about this costume that wasn't sitting quite right with me, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And I finally did figure out what it was. I finally figured out what was bothering me about this costume. And honestly, like I said, most of the costumes in this movie I was not impressed with. And it was the worst Superman costume I'd ever seen in live action. And the other members of the Justice Gang were basically wearing palette swapped versions of Mr. Terrific's costume, which is just where did that come from? I don't understand that. Why would the Justice Gang? Yeah, James Gunn, they talk about how accurate he is into the comic books, and he's just making stuff up that hasn't ever, been part of comic book history. It's not your birthday, it's coming in June. Well, you said one day till your birthday. Okay, well, whatever. All right. I'm confused now. So anyway, this is one of the deluxe theatrical edition figures, which is pretty much just it's the same as a collector edition, but not as fancy and more overpriced. And it's got blue foil on it instead of silver foil. And let's just go ahead and open them up. So yeah, this is the figure that I'm going to open in observation of Black History Month. And if you remember last year, I did a whole month practically of Black History Month because I had a bunch of action figures where I'm like, hey, I can open this one up. This one's a black character. I had a whole wave of Black Panther Wakanda Forever Marvel Legends figures. That was what really inspired that. And then I realized, oh, hey, I got these other characters. Here's another black character I can open up, kind of thing. This year, I don't have quite as much of a backlog of that, so it's not going to be like a whole month of it. But I decided to go ahead and take a break from Ninja Turtles real quick so I can open them up. And frankly, I got a couple of Ninja Turtles figures that I feel like are at least Black History adjacent, shall we say. But including one I just got yesterday from Big Bad Toy Store. So we got a lot of cool stuff coming up. So here's the trading card, same piece of artwork we have on the back. Says Mr. Terrific, Superman. Data file, real name, N.A. His name is what? His name is Michael Holt. He has a real name. You know, I had the first appearance of Mr. Terrific, the modern Mr. Terrific, Michael Holt. I had his first appearance. It was in an issue of The Spectre, which was a comic that I really enjoyed. This was the John Ostrander, Tom Mandrake run of The Spectre. Excellent comic book. And they introduced this new version of Mr. Terrific. And not only did this story like make me instantly kind of fall in love with this character, and I really liked him in that story, but also gave me an all new respect for the original Mr. Terrific. So, but yeah, here's the figure stand before I forget. It's a typical black figure stand with a silver DC logo embossed onto it. Even though the package has the classic Milton Glaser DC logo that they gone back to, one of the few decisions James Gunn made that I agree with. This one still has the Rebirth era logo on it. I guess they had some leftovers. Anyway, I was reading this trading card and I got distracted. Mr. Terrific, whose serious contradicts the whimsy of his name and the gadgets he devises. Oh, was there whimsy in a James Gunn movie? I wouldn't have noticed. Is perhaps the real, if not acknowledged, leader of the heroic trio, the Justice Gang working title. Oh, that's so clever. Terrific wields his trademark T-spheres, small multifunctional metal orbs the size of tennis balls, which he controls with complex hand signals, operating his flying rig, and of course, Mantis signature T-Craft. He does not come with the flying rig, which reminds me a lot of, I don't know if it was the intention, but it reminds me a lot of Orion and his Astro harness. Looks kind of like they ripped that off. Anyway, I thought I had my snips over here. I'm not seeing them. Well, we're just going to have to do this old-fashioned way and use the X-Acto knife. So he's got rubber tab around his forearm over there and around each of his shins right above the ankle. And it seems like there's a rubber tab here. Yeah, it's buried under this arm. If I move this arm out of the way, then I can cut it. So I did have around here somewhere the previous Mr. Terrific, the comic book style one. And I don't know where he is right now. It looks like he's somewhere where I can't reach him, though. Oh, well, whatever. But that one had that... oh, he's got one more rubber tab around his chest. That one had a soft goods kind of pleathery jacket. And anytime I got that kind of pleather on an action figure, I worry that it might start to chip and peel eventually, because I've had that happen before. But this one has the jacket molded on. Now, the interesting thing about this is, for whatever reason, rather than doing it like a vest, where it's, you know, kind of the jacket part comes off, you can see that the shirt is part of this whole rubber piece. It's like just this whole rubber sheath that goes over the torso of the figure, and that's disappointing, because then it just kind of looks like it kind of melds into the shirt. But real quick, the problem that I had with this suit, I finally realized what it is. is his shirt underneath is white, and he's supposed to have a black shirt underneath, and then with the black at the top of the jacket, it's supposed to look like a T. And apparently the costume people and the director of the film, who's supposed to be such a comic book aficionado, did not realize that. So, and then we got the T-spheres molded into his hands. So there aren't any separate T-spheres in this story, in this figure, unfortunately. And they redesigned the T-spheres and kind of ripped off the little flying orb that Luke Skywalker practices his lightsaber with in Star Wars. But they put like a kind of a T shape over it, which to me looks like a diaper almost. So I'm not fond of that design either. And the only accessories that Mr. Terrific comes with is he comes with some extra hands. We're going to get those out. And also in the comic book, like usually, not always, but usually, Mr. Terrific is drawn to have kind of like white eyes like Batman. And he's just got like, regular human looking eyes in the movie. I don't know how well that works. But he's got 2 extra hands, which looks like they have kind of trigger fingers. And then he's got some extra faces. We're going to look at all these in a minute. I'm just getting them out right now. All right. So both of these 2 hands, I'm guessing, are going to be identical. Only one's for the left and one's for the right. But you can see it's got a black fingerless glove, dark brown fingers for his skin tone. And to me, yeah, they do look to be identical. So you got 2 trigger finger hands, and then we got 3 faces for this guy. Kind of goofy expression there. I don't know what that's supposed to be. And then this one's like a little bit more of a grimace. So maybe this one's supposed to be a smile, but it looks kind of like what they might call a shit-eating grin. It's kind of embarrassed looking, I guess. But whatever. I'm not going to use any of these extra faces. I'm not really impressed with either of those. And then I don't even know what the difference is on these 2. The one that's actually on his head currently and this one, they're both just kind of like this neutral sort of expression. So I'm not really seeing any sort of difference there. I know he's got like a little bit of an afro going on. I know Skywalker the Jedi. I watch a lot of his live streams, and he was making fun of his haircut, saying he needed to go to the barber. And it does look a little, I don't know, like it does look a little bit like he hasn't been to the barber in a while. Like that kind of like not that he's trying to grow an afro on purpose, but just like it just kind of, he just hasn't been to the barber in a minute. So I don't know what the deal was with that. He does have some impressive looking sideburns. Maybe they should have gone all out and given him like a 1970s style afro, and that would have been cool. But oh well. The Weekend Gamer is here. It says diaper T-spheres. Now I'd buy that for $1. Hell yeah. So one thing that I do think is superior on this version of Mr. Terrific versus the comic book version, not in terms of like the costume design, but in terms of like the execution of the figure, is, like I said, he does have the molded jacket. So I'm not as worried about that getting shipped up. And he's also got the logo on the arm, Fair Play, where it says Terrific on the back. So I think what I'm going to do with mine, and I want to get rid of this stupid logo on the front too. I want to make that as not visible as possible. He's got that JG on his chest because James Gunn had to put his initials on all these characters' chests. Oh, it's not my initials. It's because the team's called the Justice Gang. So that's why it says JG. Yeah, who came up with the name? Who came up with the name Justice Gang? That's not in the comic book. So he's got a JG on his chest. I'm going to be getting rid of that as best. It would be a lot easier if it wasn't like this kind of soft rubber on here, because I can't really sand that down or anything. But I'm hoping if I can paint over it, that'll at least make it a little less obvious. I do not like that at all. The head sculpt isn't bad, although like Skywalker pointed out, it looks like he hasn't been to the barber in a while. So it's got a nice leather texture to the at least the shoulder parts of the jacket. I think they did a really good job with this figure, honestly. Like whether you like this design or not, whether you think they did a good job bringing Mr. Terrific to the screen, and I think they did an okay job. I think they could have done it better. But it's not horrible. It's okay. It's a good figure is the thing. They did a good job of like getting the visuals of it across. And like I said, it's accurate enough to the comic book that it doesn't really get on my nerves too much. At least it's one costume in the movie that's somewhat accurate. But yeah, I think the thing that was throwing me off about this costume was the fact that he has this white undershirt. And it was a sort of thing that, like, it was just kind of subtle enough that like I couldn't consciously make the connection. But once I was looking at the figure, I realized that was what it was. He needs to have the black undershirt so it has that T shape to it. That's what it is. So anyway, let's go ahead and talk about his articulation. So Mr. Terrific can look up about that far, look down about that far, tilt his head kind of quizzically from side to side, rotate the head all the way around. Of course, the arms rotate all the way around the shoulders, and they raise up to the sides about that far. He does have that little butterfly joint underneath that McFarlane figures tend to have. I don't know if he has spacers, though. I don't know if he really needs spacers because of the jacket. But he does have a bicep swivel, so the bicep rotates all the way around. He's got double jointed elbows. That's about the range of motion you get at the elbows. Excellent range of motion at the elbows. The wrists rotate all the way around, move up and down like that. Really any which way you want to. Because that's that cool McFarlane wrist articulation. I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss it so much when Mattel takes over and they just give them standard action figure joints at the wrist and the ankles. That's going to be sad. But whatever. This is how it's going to be. So he can move all the way around, back and forth like that, back and forth like that, because it's just like the rubber piece over here. And again, I think that the having the shirt be the same piece as the jacket, that was a mistake. They should have had that just like a solid torso with a vest type piece over it. And I think that would have been a lot better. He can do the splits, no problem. Mr. Terrific can kick up about that far, so good range of motion for kicking up. He does have that little bit of a wobble here. Not a full rotation. It doesn't rotate all the way around, but it's enough to get some good posing out of it. Mr. Terrific has double jointed knees. That's about the range of motion you get at the knees. Does not appear to be any kind of boot cut, even though it does look like that is a separate piece of plastic there. I think I can see a seam. It looks like there's a seam. So I don't know what the point was to that if you weren't going to add articulation on there. And it doesn't look like there's enough of a lip at the top of that boot that like it really made that much of a difference. Like it's just barely enough that like I can tell that it's a separate piece of plastic. So Mr. Terrific's foot can point down about that far, point up about that far, and it rotates all the way around where the foot meets the ankle and where the ankle meets the shin. So lots of good movement on there. The Weekend Gamer says, James Gunn is a sly old bastard. Damn, Alan, I totally missed the JG reference. Next time, I'll put on my John Nada glasses from the film They Live. Well, you better, or you're going to be eating this trash can. I'm just kidding. I can't make you eat a trash can. They're way too big, and they're made of metal and or plastic and completely inedible. So that would not happen. Besides, I've never seen you in real life. You might be a really tough dude for all I know. Oh, yeah. Last but not least, he does have the toe articulation just to show off. So this is a pretty cool figure. Even for me as a guy who was not a fan of this movie and didn't even watch the whole thing and like really have no interest in watching any more of James Gunn's stuff. after this. I'm ready for either somebody else to take over DC entirely, or bring Zack Snyder back. Let Zack Snyder finish his story. You don't have to make him like the only DC guy ever again. Somebody else can do DC after him, but let him at least finish his story. I think it would have worked out better if they had to let Zack Snyder finish his story and then let James Gunn do whatever he wanted to do. I don't think the fan base would have been as divided as it is right now. I think James Gunn broke the DC fan base worse than it was already broken. Honestly, like it's like I'm sorry. I'm sorry to anybody who's a fan of this movie. I really am. But I calls them as I sees them, and that's as I sees them. But even for me, as a guy who is ambivalent about this movie at best, I gotta say this is a nice action figure of Mr. Terrific. I think they did a pretty good job with it. My only real problem is he looks like he should have been to the barber, and he looks like he should have had a black shirt. And it's not even a problem with like the kind of the afro type of thing. It just doesn't look like it's well maintained is the thing. I think that's the thing that was bothering Skywalker. Is it just kind of looks kind of sloppy, it needs to be tightened up a little bit, it maybe he's just been too busy. I don't know. I do really like the skin color. I think they did a really good job because that's an actor that has some fairly dark skin. I like that actor. I remember him from X-Men First Class, and his character got done dirty in that movie. So it's nice that he got another superhero role. I'll say that. But they did a nice job of I think it does look like the actor. I can definitely see a resemblance to him, so that's good. And the costume, like I said, it's probably the best superhero costume that anybody had in that movie, which is damning with faint praise. But mostly, I kind of feel like they got Mr. Terrific's costume correct. I might try to do a little bit of tweaking since I've got these extra faces. And this face, like I said, it looks identical to me anyway. Maybe I'll try to see if I can make the eyes white or red and see if that looks any more impressive to me. But I think him having like the normal human eyes kind of throws it off a little bit for me too. Weekend Gamer says Mr. Terrific has gel in his hair. That's all. He just needs to go to the barber and get it tightened up a little bit. That's all it is. It needs a little bit of maintenance. Just a little bit of maintenance. I think it'll be fine. Or like I said, if they gave him like a full like 1970s like an afro kind of thing. It doesn't have to be like a long afro. It could be like, John Shaft kind of afro. I think that would look cool. Like Richard Roundtree. Like I think that would look nice. Anyway, so this is my official Black History Month figure for this year. But when I get back into Ninja Turtles, like I said, I've got some characters to open up there that I kind of feel like are at least Ninja Turtle adjacent, or they're kind of Black History Month adjacent. I'll say that. Like not necessarily like black characters, but I got the Shredder, and of course he was played by James Avery, a very great black actor. And I got the Mousers, who were invented by a black inventor in the comic book. At least Baxter Stockman was black in the original comic book. So I guess we'll still touch on Black History Month a little bit, at least going forward. And I was thinking about, and it might be too late to do this, seeing if I can order the NECA Baxter Stockman figure, the Mirage version, and maybe get that opened up this month. But I don't know if I'm going to have time to do that at this point. Like technically, I guess I could get it by the end of February, but I expect to be on to a different subject by then. What is today? Today's the 20th. So I've got the Shredder, I've got the Mousers, I've got Splinter, and I've got 4 Ninja Turtles. So yeah, that's like that'll take us through February at least. So I don't think I will be able to get Baxter before before February's over. And even if I was able to get them before February's over, I don't think I'd be able to get them before I move on to the 4 Ninja Turtles. And those would be the ones, obviously, that I want to keep all 4 of those together as much as possible. Like some people like to say that the Ninja Turtles are black coated. So I guess you could interpret those as being Black History Month adjacent figures, just the turtles themselves. But I kind of feel like that's cheating because they're green, So I will not be considering those Black History Month characters. But if you're one of the people who considers them to be coded as black, you can consider them to be Black History Month figures. And hey, I've been doing Ninja Turtles for most of this month already. So I guess I guess it did wind up being a Black History month if you want to look at it that way. But I think going forward, probably that's what I'm going to be doing every February is find it's always easy to find a cool black character to open up an action figure of. And I think that'll be a good way to acknowledge Black History Month going forward without having to spend a whole freaking month on it. Although, like I said, that was a fun month. I did enjoy doing that. And who knows, I might wind up being in a place where I can do that again one day. But for now, I think, ambition is the enemy of success. So I thought this review turned out pretty well. I like the figure, even if I'm not crazy about the movie. So I'm glad I got him in my collection. And I'm glad that I was able to pay what should have been retail price for him in the first place. Even though I got him on clearance, he's still expensive, for a clearance price, I think. But I like the figure, so I'm glad I have him. So, and Mr. Terrific is not a hard figure to find. I'd say of all these theatrical edition movie figures, he's probably actually the easiest. I know the GameStop closest to my house, they've still got one on the shelf. And I think the only ones they had left were him and Ultraman. And at my Walmart where I got these clearanced out, Superman was the first to go, which would make sense because, he's the main character. But honestly, I think it had more to do with Crypto than anything else. And then I think all the Lex Luthors, and I know I got 3 Lex Luthors all together, so there'll be one that will be opened up soon. When I get on to DC stuff after I finish up Ninja Turtles. Weekend Gamer says, correct, Alan. Baxter was a brother in the comics. I did pick up the NECA Mirage Baxter a while back. Very happy to add to my collection. He's a really cool looking figure. And granted, he's just kind of like this nerdy guy in a sweater, so it doesn't seem like it'd be, it does not seem like it would be an easy character to make into a cool figure. But I think the inclusion of some unique accessories looks like he's going to be a character that's worth buying to me anyway, because I just like the character in general. And I don't care if he's a cool looking action figure. He's not supposed to be a cool looking character. He's just kind of a nerdy guy. So they did a good job of making an action figure of a nerdy guy. But he's got a lot of cool accessories that come with him. And my favorite is the what they call it, the Rex Tab building. He's got a little model of the Rex Tab building, which of course was an anagram of Baxter, not named after him, but the Fantastic Four's headquarters is called the Baxter Building, and they clearly drew it to be the Baxter Building. So both Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird both are huge fans of Jack Kirby. So they did that as an homage. He might have even been named Baxter because of the Baxter Building. I don't know. I kind of wonder if that's the case. But regardless, I'm still going to wind up picking that figure up, and that's still going to be one that you're going to see me open up sometime in the future, but it probably won't be this February. I doubt when I do order him, I doubt I'm going to want to sit on him until next February. So he's going to wind up not being a Black History Month figure. But like I said, I do have the Super 7 Mausers to open up. So those I kind of feel like are at least Black History adjacent. So you can consider that a Black History Month episode if you want to. I'm not going to officially call it as such. This year it's Mr. Terrific. That's my Black History Month episode. So anyway, that is it for Mr. Terrific. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Next episode, I will be back with where we're gonna dive back into the world of the Ninja Turtles and the Super 7 Mousers. It's the Super 7 Mousers. NECA also made a set of Mousers based on the animated series, which looks pretty cool. I might wind up getting those at some point, but yeah, these are the Super 7 ones. I got all these Super 7 figures that I bought, and in case you missed the episode where I was talking about that, basically what happened was I got the Shredder a while back, and that was the first one that I opened up. And usually when I get, if I'm only going to get one Ninja Turtle figure, it's usually the Shredder. So I got this one, was pretty impressed with it, and as I was looking more into those figures, I decided I'd go ahead and I would collect all the characters from Playmates' first wave, which is all 4 Ninja Turtles, April, Splinter, the Shredder, Bebop, Rocksteady, and the Foot Soldier, which I haven't got the Foot Soldier yet. But I decided I'd get all of those, and then I'd cherry pick whatever other characters that, just whatever tickled my fancy, basically. So, like, I got Casey Jones, obviously, because I love Casey Jones. And I got the Mousers, because I love the Mousers. So, and I might wind up getting, I was thinking about getting that version of Baxter, because that was a pretty impressive looking figure to me. And I'll probably cherry pick some of the other ones. I'm not sure if I'm going to get Krang or not, because I'm not that wild about the Bubble Walker. I know it's the original figure, so I respect the choice, but it's also the sort of thing where I'm like, I'd rather have the big android body if I could get that. But yeah, and plus I hear the joints get really loose on that Bubble Walker, and then you have a hard time standing him up. So I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to get the Bubble Walker or not. I haven't decided yet. So Mezco is like, those just seem to be a little too expensive for me. Like those are just like a little out of my price range, but they do look cool. I'll say that. So, but yeah, and then I do have also. I'll open that up in the batch of Ninja Turtle figures I'm opening up. I did just get in the silver version of Super 7's Shredder, so we'll open that up too. And like I said, that one's kind of Black History Month adjacent because he was played on the cartoon by a black actor. So we can talk a little bit about James Avery. And, I'm a big fan of James Avery. Like, between the Shredder and Uncle Phil, he played like 2 of my favorite characters on TV. So Uncle Phil, for those of you who don't know, is my favorite TV dad. And it's not because he was a dad to his own biological kids. It's because he was a dad to Will. That's why I say Uncle Phil and not just Philip Banks or something like that. So anyway, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like and subscribe. YouTube likes it when I say like and subscribe, so I like to say like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about Mr. Terrific, both the figure and the character in general. Do you think that this figure does Mr. Terrific justice? Do you prefer the previous version? Oh, that was something else I wanted to say about that previous version. Is like I'd complained that it didn't have the logos on it, and I said that those were really important. But I think in hindsight, I think that one actually was not based on his costume from the comic book. I think it was actually based on his costume from the Justice League Unlimited animated series, which did not have the logos on it because, it's cartoon. So it would have been difficult to animate. These days, I think they could do it very easily because they could digitally put all the logos on there and wouldn't have to worry about having, some animation studio in Japan or Korea interpret the English letters properly or something like that. But yeah, back in the early 2000s, that would have been a tricky thing to do, I think. So that's why they left those off. So I think that is the intention of the original Mcfarlane Mr. Terrific figure. I suspect that's I'm not 100% sure, but I suspect that that's the intention. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We will talk to you next time. Bye. I can hit the end stream button. There we go.